I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
I am Batman.
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
I'm vengeance.
These videos are not for children. If you are a children, then piss off.
Hey there, I'm Infuso, and I'm a giant fucking nerd. Now, I was previously asked to make a reaction video to the new Batman trailer, and I'm not really gonna do that because that's not really my forte. I mean, I try to avoid showing my face as much as possible on this channel because this is my face. So you see the problem. So instead, I'm going to be taking a look at what we know about the movie and what I think of it. Let me first start off by saying I'm pretty hyped. I'm not a big fan of the DC Extended Universe movies. While I do like a lot of the casting decisions, I don't necessarily like the writing or, more importantly, the direction of the overall universe. Yeah, sure, Ben Affleck's a great Batman, but he's not written to be one. Whatever good comes from his performance seems like it's in spite of the direction, not because of it. But DC has really been stepping up their game lately. Wonder Woman, Shazam, and even Birds of Prey were all pretty enjoyable to me. And Joker, while pretty self-flating and artsy-fartsy, was actually really good. My point is, DC has made a turnaround, and it seems like they know what they're doing now. And these The Batman trailers have been very reassuring of that. What I really appreciate is that the movie seems to be focusing on the one aspect most other Batman films either seem to forget, or just completely blatantly disregard. There's a mystery at hand. There's detective work needed. Which is fitting, seeing as he's literally the world's greatest detective.
Allegedly!
I mean, seriously, in all the live-action Batman movies from Keaton to Affleck, how often have you seen Batman do actual detective work? The closest thing we got was Bale inspecting a brick in The Dark Knight, and that led to absolutely nothing. The movie makers here seem to at least know that Batman knows how to do more than just use gadgets and fight. Though that's not saying that Batman can't fight, because... yeah. Seems a little bit excessive, but okay. Maybe he was just having a bad day. And you know what they say about having one bad day. I love the feel of the trailer. It looks like the film will really do justice to the injustice-ridden gritty city. This to me feels like Gotham. It's a dark, trash-filled wasteland, but it's realistic. Or at least it looks that way from the trailer. Let me also comment on the suit. It is by far my favorite live-action Batman suit to date. Yeah, Keaton was iconic. Kilmer and Clooney's were classics despite their nipples being on display. And Bale was... well, actually Bale was really underwhelming to me. And now when I see it, all I can think about is the many parodies that came from it. I look at Christian Bale as Batman, and now all I can see is Pete Holmes.
I was a boy. Now I'm a bat.
Affleck's was different, and I really enjoyed it in the right kind of lighting. Unfortunately, it wasn't always in that lighting, and sometimes it looked really dumb. But to me, this suit is the Batman suit. No pun intended. It's really reminiscent of the suit from the Arkham series, with the added benefit of looking and probably functioning like an armored suit. This looks like it has the dual capabilities of both disguising one's identity and also realistically protecting from those you encounter. I mean, the guy is fighting on the streets of Gotham. He's not defending his local country club. There's good reasons to want to be protected. Robert Pattinson in this suit doesn't look like someone playing Batman. He looks like Batman. I also really appreciate them showing that the man is darkening his eyes underneath the cowl. That's one thing that always annoyed me with the other Batmen. It just doesn't make sense otherwise. Like he has the mask, but obviously he's doing some kind of eyeshadow underneath. That one scene in Batman Returns always drove me crazy. Even thinking about it, my blood pressure is starting to rise.
Yes, the fire rises.
It's a small touch, but it's a nice one. It's this little attention to detail that really makes me believe that this franchise is in good hands. The street gang here kind of reminds me of the Neon Gang from the Schumacher Batman movies. And I think they perfectly fit in with the madness that Gotham seems to cultivate. They are the types of low-level street thugs that would exist in a Batman comic. Plus, it's nice that someone's given Doug Walker work. Good for them. And good for him, too. But come on, did you have to frighten Malcolm like that? Being that you do in fact dress as a bat, you'd think that you'd have some kind of compassion to a man that dresses up like a tiger. I don't want to talk too in depth about the performances, mainly because I really can't. We've only seen so little. But as a tease for what's to come, You've had my interest, but now you have my investment.
Shut up and take my money!
Everyone looks and sounds on point here. Though I will say Colin Farrell as Penguin is an interesting choice. And why you'd cast him in this role greatly confuses me. But you did manage to get one over on everyone, as literally nobody seemed to recognize him in the trailer. I'm not saying he'll be bad. I personally don't think he will. But I am curious to see what he does with the role, even if he's not around in it for all that long. I know a lot of people seem to have an issue with Pattinson playing Batman for a variety of reasons. For one, he's compared playing Batman to being in Twilight, which is a franchise that a lot of people didn't seem to enjoy, Robert Pattinson included. Let me tell you, when I was younger, and those movies were coming out, I was unfortunately dating a different girl with each and every movie. But each and every one of them seemed to love those movies, and made me go see the newest one with them. So I got to see all of them. To my greatest misfortune, I hated it. But what I loved was listening to Robert Pattinson shit all over the fandom in interviews.
When I read it, it seemed like it was like it was a book that wasn't supposed to be published. Every moment I'm with you, I desperately wanted to kill you. And she's like, I don't care, I love you. And it's like, well, there's definitely something wrong with her. If Edward was not a fictional character and you just met him in reality, you know, he's one of those guys who'd be like an axe murderer. Like, what am I doing with this kid? I'm 108 years old. I was convinced that Stephanie was convinced she was Bella. It's like, this woman is mad. I hardly get to do any vampire stuff. There's a lot of stuff in the Twilight world that doesn't make any sense.
It's very almost heartbreaking because they don't want it to be over. Yeah. It's a little bittersweet, isn't it? For them.
The word on Twilight was, like, you almost got kicked off that set.
Oh yeah, because I thought I was pretty safe.
Right.
And they flew up and they're like, yeah, you have to do the opposite of what you're doing now or you're going to get fired.
That man did not enjoy playing Edward Cullen. And it's looking like he's not enjoying playing Bruce Wayne either. And Robbie, don't you do this to me. It was funny then, but it ain't funny now. Because this is my fandom. Bad things are only funny when they don't affect me or the things that I like. I'm kidding, of course. I think what Rob is referring to is the fandom behind the project and the expectations of those who love it. Pattinson strikes me as someone who prefers to enter an indie project with no source material. You know, this way there's no fanboys or fangirls fighting over the internet of what the movie should be and what they should do and the creative directions they should take. God, I hate those people. People talking on the internet about fictional things they like. I mean, what losers? I mean, who would do... Oh yeah, I guess I could cut that out in post.
I don't take these comic book things all that serious. And if you do, like, get a life.
The guy's probably already received a ton of hate mail and death threats over a role that nobody has actually seen him in yet. I think old Patty here would be happier entering a project sans expectation. However, I've seen Robert Pattinson act, and outside of the Twilight series, he's actually a really talented dude. Personally, I think Robert Pattinson's really gonna nail this. Just like he did in Twilight. You know, the way that he nailed his co-star. Was that immature? Why, yes. Yes, it was. But come on, wordplay. Robert Pattinson's really gonna nail this.
Whether he wants to or not.
The argument also keeps getting brought up that Pattinson refused to get in shape for the role, and that's blasphemous. And yeah, I get it. Ben Affleck got unrealistically jacked for the role, and to a lot of people, that's how Batman should look. Bale was also in great shape when he put on the cowl as well. I get that an impressive physique may be ideal for Batman, but I personally don't see it as being integral to the character. I mean, yeah, sure, the guy should definitely be in shape, but I don't think that's really the beginning and end of it for me. Granted, I don't want to see Batman turn into Fat Man, but I don't really think that he needs to have muscles on top of his muscles. To me, the performance is much more important than the appearance. Batman doesn't need to be jacked, he just needs to be Batman. Case in point, one of the most beloved men to put on the Batsuit is the previously mentioned Michael Keaton. And I don't really recall him flexing his muscles and showing off the goods every other scene. Because he didn't need to, he was Batman. If Robert Pattinson doesn't want to hit the gym, so be it. Just don't show the man outside the armor. There's really no need for Bruce Wayne to be shirtless every other movie. I've heard some people compare this movie to Spider-Man 3. Because there's too many villains, they're gonna muck it up, it's gonna be terrible. But to me, this feels a lot less like Spider-Man 3, and more like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies in general. Those movies show off a bunch of characters that are known to fans of the source material, most of which don't even come into play in the main story. These characters, whether they be winks at the audience in the form of Easter eggs, or characters that were originally intended to be further utilized in future installments of the series that never came, really added to the world of Spider-Man. And it was nice to see these characters exist in some capacity. I feel like the same applies here. I don't think that all these characters are going to serve as main antagonists for the movie. I think they're just here to establish Gotham, the type of people that live there, and probably even serve as red herrings for our dear Dark Knight. Look, you can't have a mystery without the usual suspects. Even though the man in question is clearly the man who questions everything, we're talking, of course, about the Riddler.
If you are justice, please do not lie. You are justice. Please do not lie.
Not that I'm complaining that I know the end reveal. It's fine. It's not really why I go to see a movie personally. I don't go to the movies to see the end reveal. I go to movies to see how the movie plays out and gets to it. If I guess it early on, that's fine. It could still be a great movie. I could still love it. It's cool. Sorry for the tangent. I also think these characters are good for potential setups of arcs that can come later on. But even if they don't, again, it's just nice to have them there. It makes Gotham feel like an actual city. An actual crime-ridden, villain-infested city. I also appreciate the realistic angle this seems to be taking. Most Batman villains don't really have superpowers per se, which is good because, you know, neither does he. I prefer my Batman stories without powers. I think it's much more interesting seeing a bunch of humans in capes and cowls and pseudo-cat masks. I don't know. It's more interesting to me. I've always appreciated realistic Batman more than I've appreciated Justice League Batman. I still like them both. Still love the Justice League. Great cartoon. But I don't know. I'm kind of really digging this realistic solo Batman universe. And I'm hoping that we get more expansion in it as well. But the second Superman flies on screen, that's it. I'm out. And you know what? Batman has enough villains and enough Bat family members that you could really make an expansive universe just off that IP alone. You don't need to include the Flash and Superman and Wonder Woman and all these other people. You could just have an extended Batman universe, and I still think it would be really captivating. Or hey, even if you didn't, you just had this one-off movie, it could still be really good. So I'm genuinely interested in seeing how this all plays out. Well, I think that covers everything that I can cover at this point in time. I will keep updated on all things the Batman related, and I will continue to give you my take. As of right now, Warner Brothers has my money, and I am looking forward to seeing this movie. But who knows? Maybe when I see it, I'll want to rip the ears off Pattinson's cowl. Maybe I'll be in such distress that I'll shine my own bat signal in the sky for help. It's a possibility. You never know, Warner Brothers. Sometimes when they step up to bat, they really knock it right out of the park. And other times, you want to hit them with that bat for what they're doing to your bat. So here's to hoping for the best, but expecting the worst as a precaution.
The hell are you supposed to be?
I'm vengeance.
Hey there, it's me, your least favorite YouTuber, the Infuso. And is it any real surprise that I'm making yet another video talking about Batman? At this point in time, it's just kind of what I do here. And because of that fact, I've had some people ask me what my take is on the upcoming The Batman. I thought I already made it clear in my last video talking about The Batman, but to be fair, there have been some more developments since then that I guess I probably should be looking into. So that's why I'm going to be covering a little bit about what we've learned about this movie, and what could possibly follow it, as well as what I think about everything. A little bit of fact, a little bit of opinion, let's just get right into it. This Batman to me seems really interesting to say the least. There's a very cinematic feel to the shots that were shown in the trailers. The way these scenes are shot, it just makes everything feel big. And I think just by the brief glimpses we get of Gotham City, from the trailers and the occasional photo that leaks, I think what really comes across is that this is coming from a director who has a certain vision. It appears that they're going for gritty and grim, which is both a perfect fit for Gotham City and a perfect fit for Batman. The Batman's Gotham has its own personality. It seems distinct from other interpretations of the city that we've seen before. And the suit looks amazing. It looks much more like armor than a costume. Although I'm told that this isn't the final suit, just one of many that we'll see throughout the runtime. And it looks amazing. It looks much more like armor than a costume. All I'm saying is that this outfit looks much more likely to stop a bullet than that rubber nipple getup. These trailers make the product feel like a combination of the Dark Knight movies and the Arkham universe. And let me just say right now, I am here for it. If that's the route we're going, sign me up. Let's extend that universe. A lot of the inspiration for this Batman movie seems to come from Batman Year One and Batman The Long Halloween, which would make sense as the two of those are some of the most famous early Batman stories put to panel. And while Batman won't be in his first year, we still know that in this movie, it's set in the very early years of Batman. So it's not a year one, it's more like a year 3. I imagine that's done so we could still see a somewhat inexperienced Bruce Wayne behind the mantle, but he's experienced enough for this to not be his first clown rodeo. People who have gone to the test viewings of this movie have inadvertently described this movie as the anti-Dark Knight Rises, stating that Bruce spends most of his screen time inside the Batman costume and comes across like a Batman who has very little interest in being Bruce Wayne. And to me, that perfectly reflects the character. As I've said many times before, and also as I'm sure many other Batman YouTubers have said before me, Batman is the man and Bruce Wayne is the mask. It's been both stated and emphasized that this is a Batman who, like the Batman most comic readers or TV show watchers know and love, this is a Batman who will not kill. Which is great, because I think that almost every other Batman put to screen has failed in this endeavor. It's one of the most simple things you could stick by with the character. It's one of the most integral morals that this character has and lives by. And yet, no movie maker could abide by that. Even the ones who want to moral grandstand and act like they were following this. Oh what, Bruce won't kill Ra's al Ghul, but he'll blow up his entire league? What, are they just not people because they're not main characters? Is there a little asterisk right next to that quote? Like, Bruce says that he'll never kill, but then it's like, main characters? Bruce won't kill Ra's al Ghul, but he allows him to just die? Yeah, thanks, Nolan. At least you tried. This movie is also going to be highlighting the detective aspects of The Dark Knight, which I'm pretty excited for, because you'd be surprised just how often it's forgotten that the world's greatest detective is actually a detective, and not just a midnight brutalizer. Luckily for us, it seems like there's going to be a much more balanced combo of both here, because reviewers have also noted the violence that's present in the movie, stating its graphic nature, and highlighting moments where bones are broken. The movie's allegedly going to be just under or just about 3 hours long, so make sure you get that large popcorn before sitting down to watch this one. You're going to be there for a while. What I like about these trailers is how they manage to maintain the mystery element. We all know the Riddler is the movie's major villain, yet in the coming attractions he's still shrouded in shadow. He's never fully revealed. It's like they're just finding a different way to surprise the audience with the same surprise. We know the name of the big bad, but we don't know the face. So just when we think we have all the answers, they go and change all the questions. Which I think is pretty appropriate in a movie that showcases the Riddler, going in with more questions than answers. Then you have Colin Farrell in the role of the Penguin, which is obviously yet another case of an actor trying to make up for Daredevil and endear himself to superhero movie watching audiences by working in a Batman project. And hey, if it worked for Daredevil, I'm sure it'll be just as good for Bullseye. I don't know why you'd spend all of your budget on hiring Colin Farrell and making him up to look like Rich Kind, when I'm sure Rich Kind would have gladly done it for much less. The guy was in Gotham after all, but I'm here for it. Colin Farrell looks like he's having a hell of a time in the role, and test audiences were having a hell of a time watching him, so it's a win-win. You know, some people used to tell me I looked like Colin Farrell. And between this role and his role in Horrible Bosses, I gotta say, I'm starting to see it. I don't like it, but I'm starting to see it. I see some people getting angry that there's a black Catwoman, and I hate to break up these speeches about forced diversity and going woke by acknowledging the existence of others, but this isn't exactly something new. I mean, Halle Berry did in fact play Catwoman in the first and only live-action Catwoman movie. Sure, she was Patience Phillips and not Selena Kyle, but she was Catwoman. But hey, if that's not close enough for you, you also have Eartha Kitt, who played Catwoman in the 1960s Batman show after Julie Newmar left the role. And for the record, yes, she was playing Selena Kyle. You also had Naya Rivera in Batman The Long Halloween, which is one of her last acting roles. You have Sana Alathan playing the character in The Harley Quinn show. Cree Summer playing the role in DC Superhero Girls. Oh, and you know who else played Catwoman in the past? Zoe Kravitz. The actress who's playing her now in this movie. She was already Catwoman in the Lego Batman movie. And if all that's still not good enough for you, you're also openly ignoring the bunch of comics that existed before a movie ever came out, where Selena Kyle was in fact a black woman. So, I don't know who you're arguing with or why you're doing it, but it's not working for you. Similar complaints have been made about Commissioner Gordon in the series, being that the character is now being played by Jeffrey Wright, and I almost get it. I too like when products stay true to their source material. But what's more important in portraying a character? Is it the appearance of the character, or is it the performance of the actor? For me, it's the latter. This guy just seems like Commissioner Gordon. And honestly, he kind of looks just like Commissioner Gordon anyway. I really don't see what the issue is. First time I saw the teaser trailer, I recognized him no problem. I didn't need anyone to point him out to me. You look at this man and you just go, that's Commissioner Gordon. He perfectly fits the aesthetic. The test screenings for the film have been overwhelmingly positive, with some reviewers comparing it to a horror film, commenting on its dark and scary tone. There's apparently some big surprise twist or reveal at the end, which at this point in time is kind of looking like it's going to be the Joker. Don't quote me though, but yeah, that's what it looks like. Zoe Kravitz has been called the best Catwoman by more than one viewer of the movie. Colin Farrell is credited as being delightful and hilarious as Gotham's Kingpin. Paul Dano's take on the Riddler has been referred to as being, and I quote here, fucking crazy. He's even been compared to Jigsaw, which is a direction I think will really work for the character, and I'm interested to see it done. They say that Alfred is more of a father to Bruce rather than a butler. I have not heard a single criticism or critique of the material. Nothing. Nothing but praise. So I'm looking forward to seeing the final product. I'm trying to go into this without any expectations, but despite that, I'll admit, I'm excited. More excited than I think I've ever been going to see a Batman movie. This movie looks grounded, it looks gruesome, it looks good. And while I have my high hopes, I just gotta remember that the last time I was almost as pumped for a Batman movie, it turned out being Batman v Superman, so just gotta go in expecting the worst and hoping for the best. In all seriousness, from the look of things, this movie seems very promising. But here's the big question, and it's a question I don't see a whole lot of people asking, and that is, what the fuck is going on? When the project was first announced to be its own outing outside of the DCEU, it made sense to me. I like that they're doing things outside of the main line of movies. Why, look at Joker. That movie was a huge success, and it's because it wasn't creatively bound to an entire universe of already existing content. It was allowed to do its own thing. It was allowed to be its own thing. And I was under the impression that that's what the Batman was going to be. A one-off Elseworld tale that explored a different version of Batman. Except now, I'm almost entirely sure that's not what it is. We're getting a one-off movie that introduces audiences to the Falcones, the Maronis, the Riddler, the Penguin, Catwoman, with strong rumors at this point that Joker is currently cast, and will be making an appearance in the movie. There's even some suggesting that a Superman crossover or cameo will take place. On top of that, there's a brand new show that's planned, set to take place in the same universe. A show which will be produced by Matt Reeves, director of this Batman movie. And it will bring back the Batman's Jeffrey Wright and Colin Farrell as Commissioner Gordon and the Penguin. The show is set to follow the Gotham City Police Department, and the working title of it last I checked was Arkham. Essentially, it kinda seems like DC is opening up another cinematic universe while they already still have one open. There is no doubt in my mind that this Batman movie is an attempt at a brand new start for a whole new canon. And you know what? I don't hate that. We're at a point where the superhero movie craze is so big that I think people understand the concept of a multiverse. And more so over, people actually want to see more interpretations of their favorite characters. For the first time ever, we have 3 Batmans cast. Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck are showing up as Batman in the Flash movie, and Robert Pattinson stepping in for the role in his own solo project. That has been unheard of up until this point in time. I want to thank y'all for watching. I don't usually review trailers because I'd prefer to have an opinion on what was rather than make predictions of what could be. But I've had at least a handful of you guys ask me to do videos like this. Let me know in the comment section below if I should be doing more or less of this. Anyway, with that being said, I was your least favorite YouTuber, Infuso, and I thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next one.
I am vengeance.
I am the knight, and that was V Infuso. Just remember, if you're not tuning in, then you're missing out.
So, if you like the words that came out of his mouth hole, and you too would like to become a V-generate, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, nerds!
And if you're not joining the fun, you're in for one bad day. And you know what they say about having one bad day?
Catch him next time. Same bat time, same bat channel.